Hello, yes, this is a video that is going onto the internet. My name is Nikki, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Yes, that is my umbrella light in the background. It is going to continue to stay there. So sorry about it. We need to have good lighting at all times. Today, also, I decided to dress up like Steve Jobs, I guess. I don't know, this was in my closet for a long time. I've been bumming around since this lockdown and this virus and this stuff happening in the world, so I decided, let me actually get my act together just for one day. So I decided I'm Steve Jobs now. Watch, black turtleneck, it's on and poppin'. So today's topic is something that has been heavy on my mind for a while, and I think that I should share my opinions on what I think about this specific topic. Today, I'm going to be talking about the Frenemies Podcast with Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas. I know there are a lot of different opinions on Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas, and I'm just going to flat out say that I am big fans of both of these influencers. I know it's a cringy word, but what else am I supposed to say? YouTubers, you know what I'm talking about. I'm big fans of both of these people. And Hila. Teddy Fresh. Have some of their stuff. It's great. Before we go on to some of the topics in this video, like the title suggests, frenemies and why is it important for mental health. We're going to be talking about some heavier topics, and I just want to say that I am not someone to judge people for their internal struggles and what they're dealing with, their mental health. That's not who I am, and I don't ever want to come across as me bashing somebody for their mental health issues. It's quite the opposite. If anything, I'm making this video because I appreciate that we can have conversations like this on the internet. I'm going to focus a lot on Trisha Paytas, as you can probably assume. She's definitely had a lot of videos on the kitchen floor, and I do love her. I know she's not a perfect human being, and a lot of people don't like her on the internet, but guess what? This video is my opinion, and I don't give a damn if you don't agree with it. Thanks. Let's get into the video. Liquid lipsticks feels so tacky. I accidentally just licked some of it off. In case you don't know the Frenemies Podcast, it's a podcast with two hosts being Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas. Ethan Klein comes from H3H3 Productions on YouTube, which is a conjoined channel where he and his wife, Hila, make commentary and comedy videos. Trisha Paytas has had a long history on YouTube. On her YouTube channel, Blonde Sundoll for Michael Jackson. Every time I read that, I just want to say blonde. Like, I know it's blonde, but yeah. And by long, I mean problematic in some areas, but I'm not going to get into that today because there's dozens of other videos on YouTube that can tell you about that history. Nonetheless, I believe that people can grow and change from their past experiences. Now that I laid the foundation of our hosts, let's get into the topic of the video today. Mental health. Something that everybody tries to acknowledge and change, but it just seems to keep getting worse. I think the place to start with this is with Trisha Paytas and her controversy as coming out as trans. If you were frequent on YouTube during this time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Back on October 7th of 2019, Trisha Paytas uploaded a video called I Am Transgender, Female to Male.
So do I think I'm transgender? Yes, 1,000%. Do I identify with my natural born gender? 1,000%. So I think that's where I'm at.
The video overall had a negative response, with the comments just saying that she was seeking attention and that it was offensive to people who actually struggle with gender dysphoria. It's no secret that Trisha Paytas has a history of trolling on the internet, so I can't really blame anybody for thinking that she's trolling once again. I mean, we all saw the chicken nugget video. I can't. Shortly after the release of the video, H3H3 actually had Trisha Paytas on the H3 podcast. In this episode, Ethan and Hila questioned Trisha on her gender identity, as well as various other events throughout her career. This, in my opinion, seemed to spark the flame where Ethan and Trisha actually developed a friendship. The chemistry between Ethan and Trisha is undeniable, in my opinion. I think it was fate that they made a spin-off podcast on the H3 podcast channel. The first episode of the Frenemies Podcast was uploaded September 15th of 2020, and only 2 episodes later, we see a glimpse into Trisha and what she's dealing with in her personal life. Trisha explains on the podcast that she was diagnosed with traits of MPD, multiple personality disorder, and DID, dissociative identity disorder, by a therapist. And she explains how ex-Smosh member Anthony Padilla called her out for wanting to be on a mental health bandwagon. You can tell throughout the podcast when Trisha is speaking on the situation that she genuinely feels upset and invalidated. As someone who also struggles with mental health issues, I totally understand where she's coming from, and it really hurts to have people around you invalidate you and your feelings. Trisha then claimed that Anthony told her that she didn't look like she had mental health issues. Not sure how you can look like someone with mental health issues, but okay. Trisha then brings up that Anthony has mentioned that he deals with depression, and she fires right back at him by saying, well, you look happy with your girlfriend. I have to say in this situation that Anthony and Trisha are both very toxic in this situation. They're coming about it in all the wrong ways. Anthony does make videos on his personal channel, addressing certain groups of people, his series being I Spent a Day With videos. One of his most popular videos being I Spent a Day With Multiple Personalities. On the surface, it seems like Anthony's a great guy for speaking out about mental health and giving people a platform to share their experiences. But unfortunately, I think it's being overshadowed by his ability to shame a woman for her mental health struggles just because it doesn't perfectly fit into his little box of what mentally ill people look like. Just because you interview a couple people on your channel who have a mental illness doesn't mean that you get to dictate who and who doesn't have mental health issues. In case you never heard it before, the world isn't always so black and white. Similar to sexuality, mental illness is very fluid. Multiple people can have the same disorder and still feel and act completely different. But no hard feelings, Anthony. I still love your Molester Moon video. The good old days of YouTube. A classic. I believe that society, as well as the internet, is getting into some unhealthy territory with an overconsumption of the idea of what being mentally ill actually looks like. As the years go on, it seems like the media, movies, TV shows are all opening more doors to conversations about mental illness. The way that the media tends to portray mental illness, I feel, has its pros and cons. Of course, it's great that the public is being more aware of mental health, and with that openness comes people who are struggling don't feel so alone. With that, though, comes some cons, being oversaturation and almost romanticizing of mental illness. I see examples of this on YouTube, social media, movies, TV shows. It's almost unavoidable to come across it. I mean, it's rare in my opinion to come across a movie or a TV show that properly depicts depression. Everything in the media has to be glamorous and attractive, which is really unfortunate because manic episodes are far from glamorous. Not wanting to leave your bed to eat, piss, or take a shower is reality for most people with depression. It's ugly, not cute. Back to addressing frenemies. We probably have one of the biggest moments in episode 5, where Trisha actually walks out on Ethan during the podcast. Here in this episode, we see a really shocking moment for Trisha, where she later describes that she lost control.
There's no way to calm you down, I feel like.
I'm fine. I'm literally just
No, but
over
like
it.
there's
I'm
no
so
way.
over it.
You just hate me so much. I just
do,
wish there was a
and
way
I do. And like, I
to
know,
tone it down.
yeah, whatever. There is, because I hate people just like, that are you. You're the person I hate in this world.
Really?
That's so just offensive, but they do nothing wrong. And when people are provoked, oh, they're crazy, calling girls crazy and stuff like that, it's like, but taking no accountability, no responsibility. You think everything's just an attack against you. Everyone's against Ethan. Like, oh my gosh, I'm always right. It's like, ugh, you and Jax don't serve each other, so.
Jax? Well, I can't believe you're going after Jax. He's such a sweet guy.
I love you.
All right, Trisha.
Before Trisha walks out on the episode, the conversation takes a turn when Trisha calls out Ethan for some family drama. Trisha is dating Ethan's brother-in-law, Moses, and they're actually engaged as of this recording, so I'm very happy for them. During this episode, though, there were some hurtful messages that were shared in a family group chat that was causing ties between Trisha and her relationship. Trisha was also upset at Ethan for calling her crazy, and she voiced that she was upset by that. Here in the episode, you can see that Ethan is trying to diffuse the situation, but you can just see that mentally and just in the conversation, Trisha's tapped out. I remember when I first watched it, I could just feel how uncomfortable that room was through the screen. You can just tell how wound up Trisha is with all of her passive-aggressive comments at Ethan. You can tell towards the end of the episode that Trisha is falling into a really negative mindset, with talking negatively about Ethan or just speaking badly about whoever seems to come up in the conversation. In a negative headspace, it can be kind of hard to tell if Trisha still carries the same opinions than she did at the recording of the podcast versus later when she apologized. You can really tell where she is mentally when, at the end of the episode, she says, and I quote, "Title this the last episode," as well as speaking that she's just over it. The feeling of shutting down mentally is something I'm sure a lot of people with mental health issues can relate to, because I know I can relate to that. I know this is going to sound kind of strange, but honestly, watching the podcast, it was kind of reassuring to see Trisha go through something like that, because it kind of reminded me of a very similar way that I behave when I get extreme anxiety. When I get really bad anxiety, I lose control and I act irrationally and I can't focus on reality. Diagnosed or not diagnosed, people should feel validated for their feelings. I can also relate to the irritability, the lashing out, and just being socially drained. And it was kind of nice to see that in a podcast and it not get cut out. Most people would cut out something like that on camera because it's not positive and doesn't make them look good. But that's reality. Trisha made me, and I'm sure other people watching, feel not so alone. And for that, I'm thankful for the podcast. In episode 7, Trisha and Ethan do a therapy session with Dr. Drew. The episode was unlike anything I've ever seen before. Trisha and Ethan forgive each other, and Dr. Drew helps Trisha walk through her past behaviors and how to learn from it and how to improve. Trisha felt bad that she lost control, and she genuinely felt sorry for her actions, and she wanted to change and be better for the people around her. In conclusion, I just wanted to give my stance on the Frenemies podcast. I think it's really unique, and I highly recommend it for comedic value as well as honesty. I value the real conversations, and let's be real, I love the drama. It's just straight up entertaining. Thank you for watching, and I hope you can take something out of this video.